So for your Dawntrail Prep, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to your console or Steam library, and then you're going to go play Elden Ring instead. Because who needs Dawntrail Prep when there's an Elden Ring DLC? Okay, but if you actually want to do Dawntrail Prep, here's what I would do. Don't be like me and actually finish your MSQ and not having sitting up there in the top right corner staring at you every single time that you log in. And then you can clean out your inventory, whether it be your glamour dresser, your retainers, your saddlebag, any sort of inventory. You have 2 months to clean it out and, make rooms for some of the new glamour and items that'll be coming in Dawntrail. Then I would say getting a class to 660 should be a priority. There's plenty of time, and if you're able to do this, whether it's being able to get tome gear and upgrading it through the alliance raid or getting a relic weapon, it'll help because you will never have to worry about changing out gear while doing the Dawntrail story. And I know since there's 2 classes coming with the expansion with Viper and Pictomancer, everyone's going to be excited to try these out, and this means you can buy levels 80 and 90 gear currently in order to prepare for these classes and make leveling them even easier. You can get level 80 gear for Poetics and Eilmore, which will be the best available slot at level 80, and at level 90, 660 is once again the best, and you're looking to gear Ninja or Caster for those 2 respective classes. If you're looking to play these right away, I would suggest having Tribe Quest unlock, especially the Endwalker one, but Shadowbringers is helpful as well. Shadowbringers leveling for the tribes isn't exactly as helpful as Endwalker's Tribe Quest, but it's free XP nonetheless, and it takes about 5 minutes to do the 3 quests. So this is something that I would have unlocked for leveling. Bozda is another thing that I would have unlocked if you don't have it already. It's a decent option for leveling between 80 and 90. And for those of you who don't just want a dungeon spam from 80 to 90, Bozda definitely might be a good way for you to level. It is not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. So just keep that in mind when you are preparing to level up these classes. Then Wondrous Tales. This is going to be the easiest thing to prep for you, and as long as you pick one up between the weeks of June 18th and June 24th, you will be able to get a half a level on whatever class that you choose, regardless if you're going to use it on one of the new classes or not. And for those of you who are really eager, you can go run around and picking up side quests and have them completed but not handed in. And I would pick up about 28 of these, as you're going to have to pick up the MSQ quest and the story quest that unlocks the job. So you don't want to fill it completely all the way up if this is something that you're looking to do. And it'll maybe squeeze out a level or 2. You might be able to start the expansion at level 82 for one of these classes. This is something I'm not really interested in, but I want you to know nonetheless. And my last thing with leveling is going to be getting any classes that you want to level 90, whether it be crafters and gatherers. You do still have 2 months, and that is plenty of time to get 1, maybe 2 combat classes with minimal effort all the way up to level 90. And with a little bit more effort put in, you should be able to get all of your crafters and gatherers up to level 90, even from 0 if you were to start today. If you haven't done it already, I would definitely suggest getting your crafters and gatherers to max. Now moving on to things that I would stock up on, and I would just say get about 1 to 3 million gil, because you're going to need to be teleporting a lot, and you just don't want to have to worry about if you can afford to teleport to your next MSQ quest while doing the story. So just have a little bankroll going around. Speaking of teleporting, you can get teleport or aetheryte tickets. These come from the seals, ally seals, and Centurio seals, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And you can get these from clan marks and any Stormblood and below A and S rank monsters. Blue Mage activities also give allied seals, which can be turned into aetheryte tickets. So if you haven't picked up Blue Mage, now is a good time to follow that up as well. I say this one because I know you're all already sitting at 100 because no one does leave quests, but if you want to have max leave quests, you have to stop doing them on June 12th because it takes 16 days to get the max amount of leave allowances, and that'll put you at 100 if you stop doing them, but you're already all at 100, so I'm not going to bother going down that any longer. Now, I wouldn't go too overboard on materia. I would just get gathering and crafting materia, some grade 7s, but I wouldn't spend a lot of gil on this just because we don't know what bonuses we're looking for yet. But if you are very eager, getting gathering and crafting materia might be something that you want to spend your time on. Moving on from that, Spirit Bond potions is another thing I wouldn't go overkill on, as it took me about 5 minutes to get enough to craft about 400 hours worth of buffs, and I'll probably forget that I made them all in the first place. This is something that is very helpful early on when trying to get materia in the new expansion, and you can have your retainer get the wolf fangs for this level 72 craft. But once again, I wouldn't go too overboard on this because a very little effort got me a lot of these potions, so spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes to gather some of these mats, or for a couple thousand gil you can buy about 10 of these potions off the market board, which will give you about 30 hours, which is more than plenty to get you started in the expansion. One of the last things, and maybe the most important thing, is to get crystals, because you're going to be needing to do a ton of crafting in Dawntrail. So just stock up on all of the crystals and clusters that you can, and just try to be as close to the cap as possible, just because there is a lot of crafting coming in your future. Other things that you can do, like maxing out your D strength, is something that you could look forward to, because you can get new materials as well. And then I would just have a couple stacks of dark matter, just enough to repair your gear a couple times before the new one comes out. And my last thing I would prep is the currencies. Basically every single currency you can think of, you want to have it maxed. Now if we want to start out with the comedy and poetics, for comedy it's going to take you 3 weeks, so starting on June 11th you would have to stop spending all of your comedy in order to be capped by the week release of Dawntrail. I'm personally going to start the week before, because I don't want to have to worry about getting comedy the week of Dawntrail's release. So just keep that in mind. It's going to take you 3 weeks to cap your comedy. And then I would go on to crafter and gatherer scripts. I wouldn't hoard any mats to make crafter scripts, because you're not going to need to right away, but I would definitely start out on the cap. Then gemstones from fates, I would definitely be at or near the cap for these, because these items are always very valuable in every expansion that you can buy from gemstones, so definitely get close to the cap as possible. Grand Company seals is another thing that is very easy to cap. You can just turn in gear to get tons of seals. Wolf marks isn't as important, but it's definitely something that you could cap, because you'll be able to buy either the new dark matter or glamour prisms very easily with wolf marks, and it's just enough to get you started in the expansion. Then I would definitely be capped on nuts. Hunt Train solves all of your problems for basically any currency that is really important, whether that be poetics or these nuts, and I would just run those until you're at cap. This is another thing that you'll be able to get either new materia from or new items that are just going to be helpful in the expansion, so run a couple hunt trains and get your nuts capped. Lastly, and this isn't really going to be that important, but getting your candies from Island Sanctuary, or if you have a giant stockpile like I do, just not spending any of them until we know what some of the breakpoints are in the crafting and gathering is. It's just one of those things that it's just nice to have in the future, but it's not that important in the meantime. So if you haven't done anything with Island Sanctuary, it's not that big of a deal. It's more for those of you who have them. I would just hold out until Dawntrail to spending all of these. But yeah, I'll have a more in-depth guide of how to prep everything that you're going to want to do as we get closer. But I wanted to give you guys some of the long-term projects that do take a little bit of time, and give you some dates on things that you're going to have to keep in mind when doing some of these prep for Dawntrail. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. I hope you found it helpful, and as always, I hope you have a great day.